outlets this morning as they're coming in. And of course, you are watching Smart Means Business. I'm Jerome Paul Songo. A happy new year from ours to yours. But well, of course, before that, just remember that Zabu is available on all your particular platforms when it comes to a mobile user. So use *292# as the USSD code and kickstart off your investment journey with Zabu. The minimum amount for you to use while investing or to invest is 15,000 Ugandan shillings. And of course, if you have no account yet, you can use your NIN to register today, and in the next 24 hours, you'll be ready to invest in bonds and securities with Zabu. Zabu, a platform by Altex East Africa, which says do something new. And of course, Altex East Africa reminds you that with Zabu, my money, my future, but your money is definitely your future. So the markets open at 8:15 a.m. and close at 3:15 p.m. East African Standard Time. Please do note that these markets are closed during weekends and on public holidays. Zabu, my money, my future. Well, besides that, as we cross over to more details regarding business, Karibu East Africa, we kickstart it off with the inflation in Kenya, where inflation continues to ease and it's offering a glimmer of hope on the cost of living within the country. So Kenya's inflation slowed for the second time in a row, that is in December, on easing food prices, but remained above the central bank's upper target of 7.5%, according to the statistics agency. Now, inflation, a measure of cost of living over the last 12 months, did slow down to 9.1% in December from the 9.5% in November. The drop in the last 2 months signals glimmers of ease in the cost of living, which has hit the highest levels in nearly 5.5 years on soaring food and energy prices. Now, the foodstuffs cost 13.8% more in December than a year ago, but this was a drop from 15.4% jump in November. Data from the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics does reveal this. Now, some of the food items whose prices slowed down in December compared with November were largely vegetables like cabbages and spinach, while beef and maize flour continued to rise. On year-on-year basis, the data showed that consumers paid 37.7% to 77.47 for a kilogram of loose maize, a staple. Then in December, while cooking oil cost 9.1% per litre to 330.96 Kenyan shillings. Food accounts for nearly a third of the shopping basket for Kenyan families, meaning it has the biggest impact on overall movement in prices. The data, however, show the price of diesel, largely used for transportation and running farm machines, has jumped the highest in the year, costing an average of 162.91 shillings per litre in December. That is a 46.1% climb. Now, this has continuously pushed the average cost of transportation in December to 13% compared with 12 months ago, partly after buses raised fares to protect their margins during the Christmas festivities, as you can definitely see that from that angle. Now, inflation, which is a measure of the cost of living over the last 12 months, did slow to 9.1% in December from 9.5% a month earlier, if you are to look at that. And of course, this continuously gives positive signs for the people in Kenya, as the inflation has slowed for the second month in a row on the easing of food prices, but has continued to remain above the central bank's upper target of 7.5%, according to what the statistics agency reported at the end of the year. Now, crossing over to Tanzania, as the government is ready to tap its potential in agribusiness. Tanzania sought to promote investment in the country by creating an enabling business environment through strategic reforms in various strategic economic sectors, including agriculture. Now, agriculture is the economic backbone of many developing countries, as it contributes about 25% of GDP in low-income countries, and 80% of the extreme poor live in rural areas in most of these countries. For better agricultural practices, African countries need to review the policy reforms to support agriculture in, among other areas, supplying of seed, registering fertilizer, securing water, as well as registering machinery, sustaining livestock, protecting plant health, trading food, and accessing finance. And according to a World Bank survey, compared to other parts of the world, agriculture in sub-Saharan Africa faces the toughest regulatory challenges. However, sub-Saharan African countries, including Tanzania, are striving to improve the business climate by undertaking reforms and ensuring compliance with global economic requirements as recommended by the international bodies. Tanzania has made concerted efforts to promote investment by creating an enabling business environment through strategic reforms to ensure the regulatory hurdles are removed. As reforms are ongoing in various countries, global agriculture production is expected to increase by 20% in the next decade as farming techniques become more efficient, according to the World Bank. Solomon Baregu, the agribusiness component lead of the Business Enabling Environment Support Program at the International Finance Corporation, has noted that several challenges have been identified in the agricultural sector, including the process of importation and registration of different pesticides and agrochemicals in Tanzania. Now, IFC, a member of the World Bank Group, is the largest global development institution focused on the private sector in developing countries, which as well include Tanzania. It offers investment, advisory, and asset management services to encourage private sector development in less developed countries. So as this particular movement, Tanzania is seeking to promote investment in the country by creating an enabling business environment within the agri-business sector and to ensure that those engaging in agriculture earn more from the exports, as well as inclusive of how the government will be benefiting from the particular performance of the agri-business and, of course, the key exports out of the country. And that is it for Karibu East Africa this morning. Let's switch our eyes to the SMB International Outlets. Well, according to the analysts, 2023 seems to be one to look out for in Zimbabwe, as most of them have predicted that there will be economic struggles for the Zimbabweans. Last month, the inflation in Zimbabwe peaked at 280%, one of the highest rates globally. The Zimbabwean dollar also weakened, trading at 930 to the US dollar on the parallel market. This is a steep decline after 2 months of relative stability at 700 to $1. Now, this led to plummeting living standards in the Southern African country, where 7.9 million people, amounting to half of the population, fell into extreme poverty between 2011 to 2022. Now, ahead of the crunch 2023 presidential elections, proposed currency reforms by the incumbent president, Emerson Mnangagwa's administration, have already been put on hold. And surprisingly, economists, political scientists, and multilateral institutions are sounding the alarm that the trend of declining economic fundamentals could continue till next year. During a recent visit to the country, the International Monetary Fund predicted a further fall in the gross domestic product by 3.5% in the coming year due to, among other things, renewed domestic and external shocks, which include inflation and, of course, this as well include erratic rainfall, electricity shortages, and Russia's war in Ukraine is among one of those particular things that you could definitely experience for the people in Zimbabwe. Now, the analysts say years of economic management under Zimbabwe's first leader, Robert Mugabe, and later under his predecessor, Emerson Mnangagwa, have steamed the economy further, excavated by hyperinflation and the currency devaluing rapidly. Now, due to increased government spending as the central bank prints more money for contractual obligations to government suppliers and to finance agriculture, the local currency is expected to continuously weaken against leading currencies this festive season and into the next year. Now, furthermore, there are fears that while the central bank continues to dictate the exchange rate, there is no hope for convertibility determined by free market conditions. It is a statement after a visit to Harare this month. The International Monetary Fund urged authorities to sustainably anchor macroeconomic stability through the liberalization of the foreign exchange market, ensuring the central bank does not print money through quasi-physical operations, maintain tight monetary policy stance, and wind down the use of gold coins. But now the economists doubt authorities will hit the adverse. Okay, now, besides that situation, Zimbabwe, tough times for the country in Southern Africa. But besides the same situation, regarding information coming in from the international scene, let's cross over to Europe as Ryanair has seen cabin crew strike for 3 days as dozens of flights have been grounded. Now, the Belgium-based Ryanair cabin crews have started a 3-day strike, resulting in dozens of the low-cost Irish carriers' flights being grounded and affecting thousands of passengers, in turn affecting quite a number of businesses due to cancelled flights. Now, the strike came on Friday as the cost of living crisis continued, increasing the labor strife across the European continent that has disrupted the festive period. Ryanair employees in Belgium have already gone on strike several times this year, several times in 2022, and yet to demand that the country's labor laws be fully applied, grounding their aircraft. Now, on the other hand, the labor unions have notably accused Ryanair of illegally pressuring staff in Belgium to work from time to time in other sites across Europe, particularly in its home base in Dublin. In terms of passengers transported, it is not properly declaring salaries to Belgian social security authorities, and it is sometimes paying wages under the national legal minimum. Now, Charleroi Airport CEO Philip Vendock said 48 outgoing and incoming Ryanair flights had been cancelled only on Friday, so that it's 48, both incoming and outgoing. Now, expecting the strike to halt 30% of the airline's flights through its Belgium hub. Overall, about 22 passengers were expected to be affected over the 3 days, according to what has been reported. Ryanair has 15 planes in Belgium, and the strike was not due to affect its aircraft based in other countries. Now, the unions are also planning to strike over the weekend of January 7th and 8th at the end of Belgium's traditional winter break. So they do believe that today they will be returning to work, but then if at all things do not go as planned, next week, starting Saturday and Sunday, they are likely to go back on strike. As you can definitely see, that is the cabin crew of the 15 planes of Ryanair based in Belgium, who apparently went on strike over pay. Okay, so it's everywhere now. Besides that, lastly, from the international scene, let's cross over to the United States, as the House of Representatives have released the Trump tax returns after a long fight. So a Democratic-controlled United States House of Representatives committee released 6 years of former President Donald Trump's tax returns to the public on Friday in an extraordinary move just days before the Republicans are due to take control of the chamber. Now, the release of Trump's rededicated returns for 2015 through 2020 caps a nearly 4-year battle between the former Republican president and the Democratic lawmakers that was settled only last month by the Supreme Court. It is the latest blow for Trump, who is currently age 26, who was impeached twice by the Democratic-led House, only to be acquitted both times by the Senate, and now faces multiple legal wars as he mounts a 24 re-election bid. Earlier this month, earlier in December, the House committee investigating the January 6, 2021 attack on the U.S. Capitol by the Trump supporters asked federal prosecutors to charge him with 4 crimes, including obstruction and insurrection for his role in the deadly riot. The House Ways and Means Committee Chairman Richard Neal had requested the returns in 2019, arguing that the Congress needed them to determine if legislation on presidential tax returns was warranted. Now, Republicans say that the move could lead to the political weaponization of individual tax returns and warned that the party members who take over the panel next month would face pressure to pursue a similar path against high-profile Democrats. Now, Trump, who took office in 2017, was the first presidential candidate in decades not to release his taxes. He had waged a legal battle to keep them separate while he was in the White House. But the Supreme Court ruled last month that he had to return them over to the Tax Writing Ways and Means Committee. In a report last week, the committee outlined its findings from its examination of the documents, saying that the Internal Revenue Service broke its own rules by not auditing Trump for 3 out of 4 years while he was president. Now, Donald Trump did announce last year in 2022 that he will be standing for president again to make America great again, as he normally says, come 2024. But now, apparently, last week on Friday, the U.S. House Committee released Donald Trump's tax returns after a long fight. And apparently, Donald Trump did reveal that the public release of his tax returns is going to lead to horrible things for so many people. That is according to the former United States President Donald Trump. Which so many people was he relating to in that aspect? We're here to find out. But of course, that is it for the SMB International Updates. Now let's cross over to the press review to see what is happening and making headlines in this first week of the month of January, and of course the first day, the second day of the year 2023, 2nd January, with the press review this morning. Now, there's a big headline here regarding how President Museveni killed Kenya's pipe dream. The veteran Ugandan leader chose political expedience over economics in the East African Community Pipeline Project to repay Tanzania for supporting the Liberation War, according to what the East African newspaper has reported today. Rwanda and the DRC have ended the year on an icy note, according to this. Now, Uganda Airlines molds London flight via the Nairobi. This is via Nairobi. Now, CEO says that they could use another airport as Entebbe undergoes security vetting to ensure that they will be having a direct flight to the United Kingdom. This has been one of our morning updates as well, according to what is in here. This continues to look more that how geopolitical intrigues have killed UK and UK COP and Bath 1,400-kilometer air COP. This and more is a detailed report regarding the Stop ECOP campaign that was done in 2022 here in Uganda. Now, also looking forward further here with the new vision, President Museveni has assured on commodity prices and security as speculators will be forced to lower their prices, according to what has been released today. And furthermore, Ugandans have ushered in New Year in style. This is more of a report and more highlights of what has been happening this particular morning, as well as what was happening over the weekend as Ugandans were ushering in the new year. So this is more coming in from this particular new vision this morning. Then prioritize irrigation and fertilizer production. This is what President Museveni has revealed to the people during this particular Silver Jubilee Mass in Katakwi. Recently, President Museveni reminding Ugandans to prioritize irrigation and, of course, fertilizer production if we are to increase onto the production of the rest. Now, during his State of the Nation address that was on Saturday, the 31st of December 2022, President Museveni did reveal that high commodity prices will be stabilized, and he has come on to assure the nation as well. He has well highlighted that 6,714 is the number of Emyoga circles across the country that will benefit from the 258.26 billion shillings released by the government for the project. And as well, President Museveni revealed that they've put 1.2 trillion Ugandan shillings in the Uganda Development Bank to lend at low interest rates for manufacturing and large-scale commercial agriculture. Now, lastly, from the press review, the Daily Monitor, President Museveni outlines priorities according to the Daily Monitor. Then what leaders Ugandans want as 2023 starts, still with the Daily Monitor. And as well, an highlight of the last moments of a stampede, which includes victims and those who have lost their loved ones during this particular ones. So this is according to what the Daily Monitor that is apparently bringing out this particular morning, and more coming in regards to how people definitely celebrated the new year as well. President Museveni has laid out the 2023 priorities as most people continue to prepare themselves for the new year, and the economists are also key to watch. Then lastly, Luero farmers ask government to invest in value chain systems in the year 2023. Follow us on our social media platforms. Twitter is at Smart24TV, Facebook Smart24TV official, and Instagram is Smart24_TV. Please do not, you can get more updates on our website www.smart24.tv, and as well our YouTube channel where we're streaming live on Smart24 TV Live. Please do remember to subscribe. When I do return after the break, we kickstart it off with the business tips and the business quotes and more business updates yet to come. Good morning.